Hello and welcome back to my stamp studio. So I know I say this all the time, but I'm pretty excited to share this next bundle as my new Class to Go card kit. Those of you that know me well know I love the beach. Any beach. It can be the gorgeous white sands of the coastal beaches or just the beaches along Lake Michigan in my beautiful Door County. It really doesn't make a difference to me. I love the water, I love the sand, and the good vibe ions. It all makes me so happy. Well, when I saw Stampin' Up's Friends Are Like Seashells bundle, I went gaga. So it's here on page 40, 41, and 42 of the spring mini catalog. And I just think that once you get your hands on this bundle, you will be amazed at the realistic looks you can achieve and the projects you can create. If you haven't had a chance, kind of take a look through these pages. These sample cards are absolutely gorgeous. And it is part of the Sand and Sea suite. So while I am going to focus today on the bundle and the folder, and we're also going to use the opal rounds, I did not get the DSP, or there are also some, oh, what are they calling this? I think they're calling it pearlescent specialty papers. They're mostly stickers, I think, seashell stickers. And then there's also the pearlescent specialty paper, which has this kind of shine shimmer, which I actually think would be gorgeous. A lot of these cards in the mini catalog here are made with that, and they just have a shimmer to them that makes it really pretty. But I'm going to focus on this bundle and then this folder in this Class to Go card kit, okay? So if you haven't had a chance, go ahead and check these out. They're absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a chance here to kind of look through the bundle itself. It is a 23 stamp set. It's photopolymer. It has some nice just all occasion greetings up here. A happy birthday, a friends one, a thank you. My favorite is love you to the beach and back. I think that's really cute. It's also a two-step stamp set in that it has this kind of coordinating watercolory solid stamp image that you can use with the fine line detailed together to achieve some really cool looks, two-tone looks on there. That is actually happens with 4 of these shells in this stamp set. There's also this beautiful nautical stamp, which is probably my favorite, and I also love the little sand dollar, and then there's a starfish. There's also 2 little grassy or seaweed little sprigs that you get as well. Most of these stamps coordinate with a die, okay? Just love these. You have the starfish, the 2 little grassy seaweed sprigs. You also have the sand dollar and one of those little scallop seashell stamps that coordinate. And then you have this lovely larger die that actually coordinates with 5 of the seashells that are in the stamp set. And once you see those together, oh, it's just amazing. I don't think this set is complete, though, without the Seashells 3D die, okay? And that is part of the Sand and Sea suite. This is the folder that actually coordinates with 5 of the seashells from the stamp set, okay? Just love that together. Now, when I was playing around with this little combination of Stampin' Up! Products, I was like, you know what? There's another folder in the main catalog. It's on page 185, and it is the Seabed embossing folder. And again, it's a 3D embossing folder. I have my little yellow dot, so it needs that special plate when you run it through your die cut machine. But it is absolutely gorgeous and hard for you to see on camera like this. But I feel like all of these coordinate and go so well together that I'm going to offer them together in my Class to Go kit. So you know that Stampin' Up! Already gives you 10% discount on the bundle, but I am going to give a 10% discount on both additional embossing folders as well, okay? So I'm also going to include a pack of sponge daubers, basically for free, with this Class to Go kit because you need them for the class projects, and I think they're just a great addition to anybody's stamp stash. They're a really nice staple. So in addition, you know, it's celebration time, so you will also earn a level 1 celebration product of your choice. And if you don't already have a celebration brochure, let me know. I'll get one to you. But you know there's some fabulous celebration offerings in level 1. Some gorgeous paper, some stamp sets. And so with a $50 purchase, you get one of these for free. This Class to Go card kit I am pricing at $75, which is actually a really good deal. You get the daubers for free, basically. And then, of course, that's pre-tax and shipping and handling. So, in addition to this, you also get your kit cards for free. You get supplies to create 4 kit cards. Now, before I get those out, let me talk a little bit more about the cards. So, you know, one of my holiday card classes, I actually offered 4 different card designs versus the 2 card designs and 2 of each. And people really liked that idea of 4 different card designs. So for this Class to Go card kit, I'll be doing the same. I'll be offering 4 different card designs. You'll get supplies to create one of each of those 4 cards, okay? So let me show you the cards that are in this kit, the 4 cards. There's this one here that's kind of a softer pastel look. I love that Nautilus shell on the envelope. Here's a beautiful one made with Coastal Cabana. Another kind of softer pastel one. And another beautiful just white with the Bermuda Bay color cardstock there. Okay, so these are the 4 cards. You can see closer detailed pictures in my post here, but you would receive supplies for free with the purchase of my Class to Go bundle to make one of each of these, okay? All the details are included with this post, but if you have any questions about my Class to Go kits, please do not hesitate to contact me, okay? All right, so let's get going. I did want to talk a little bit about, I'm still going to do add-on lists. So there's going to be a lot of products that I use on these cards that are considered an add-on product. And I'll give you a 10% discount on those if you send me your order and let me place it for you. That is the only way I can give you the discount, okay? Again, all that is in this post, and if you have any questions, please let me know, okay? All right, so the first card, let's get the supplies out. When you receive your Class to Go card kit, you will receive supplies that look like this. We're going to be creating this card here, okay? The base is Seaside Spray. It's already cut and scored for you. You will also receive a circle. Basically, that's just going to be a scrap. You're going to receive some ribbon. This is our Blushing Bride Metallic ribbon, which is in the Spring Mini. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Has a beautiful gold shimmer on one side, but then flip over and just beautiful Blushing Bride with a little tiny shimmer on the other side. So very versatile. You can use either side on your cards. Then you're also going to have 2 pieces that measure 4 by 5 1/4. One of them is going to be your inside piece. And I've gone ahead and taken crumb cake ink and stamped 3 little starfish right across the top there, okay, of my inside. I also think that would look really cute just to add a sentiment even just right across there, okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll place that, all right, inside the card, just like that, okay? Now, your other 4 by 5 1/4 piece is actually going to get run through your seabed embossing folder, okay? So I've already done that. I don't know if you can really, oh, there, you can kind of see. Oh, it's just beautiful texture behind there. Absolutely gorgeous. We're going to take the longer piece of your ribbon with a little bit of plain old Scotch tape here. And it's going to be placed down here kind of towards the bottom 1/4 of your embossed piece of Very Vanilla. Bring your backs around there, and I'm, like I said, just using regular old Scotch tape here to attach that. Make sure it's straight across there. And then we can proceed to put some dimensionals on here. I'm going to use 4. Oh, why don't we stick one in the middle here too? And then that's going to get attached to our Seaside Spray card base. I just love how these colors, even the names of them, coordinate with the ocean and seashells and seas. I mean, Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana, Seaside Spray, how can you go wrong, right? All right, then you have a larger piece of Very Vanilla. I think this measures 6 by 4 1/4, and it needs to be that big to be able to run it through this larger die, okay? So next you're going to take your large die, and you can kind of tilt it, turn it to make sure that it's all inclusive on that paper and nothing's hanging over the edge there. Run that through your die cut machine, and you will end up with this right here. Gorgeous, right? Now you have a little better view of exactly what that die can do, okay? And it has 5 shells on here, which all coordinate with a stamp, okay? So that's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and grab those coordinating stamps. And I just want to show you quickly the colors I've chosen for these cards in this Class to Go card kit. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, if those don't say beach, I don't know what does. They're just beautiful. Coastal Cabana, Pear Pizzazz, So Saffron, Crumb Cake, Seaside Spray, and Blushing Bride. All just beautiful, soft, beachy colors. Love them. And so all of those ink pads, in addition to their refills, would all be a 10% add-on item to this class. So if you don't have them, it's a great way to pick them up with a little bit of a discount. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my ink pads open. I'm going to grab that larger Nautilus shell stamp, ink it up in the Blushing Bride, and I can come down right over the top here because it's clear photopolymer stamp and line that up perfectly over that die. Now I'm stamping on my black cushy pad from my Stamparatus. Remember, with photopolymer, that's always a good addition. I have that as an add-on item as well for this class. I usually try to with any photopolymer class I have. Give it time to really soak up that ink, and isn't that gorgeous? The other one is this little scallop stamp that we're going to stamp in the Blushing Bride. Again, it just gets lined up right over the top there. And then there's a smaller little, actually this one's a little bit bigger, sorry, than that first one I did, scallop stamp. And that one's going to get stamped in the Seaside Spray. Yeah, Seaside Spray. You can see how we're just building on this. The die cut out, then we stamp on it. Next I'm going to grab what I'm calling the conch of the bundle. And again, that can just get laid right there on top. I can see exactly where I'm coming down onto that paper. Photopolymer is just great like that. And I'm stamping that in the crumb cake. Okay. And then the next one is that larger, gosh, I used to know the names of these. I think I know all these shells since I like shells so much. I think it starts with an S, but I can't remember. Anyway, that one is getting stamped in the Seaside Spray. And that's going to lay right here on top as well. Perfectly placed right over that. Works great. Now, one of the other things we're going to do, grab your circle here. And basically I just gave you a circle because it's just a nice little scrap piece that I can throw in kits easily. Just punch them out and throw them in the kits. And so it really is intended just to be a scrap piece for you to stamp the sand dollar on. And the sand dollar is going to get stamped in the Seaside Spray. Go ahead and just stamp that down on there. And then I actually thought it looked really cute to put our sentiment on there. So we're going to grab our Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. And I'm going to grab that Love You to the Beach and Back. Now I think if you didn't have black, I think that like a early espresso brown would be beautiful on here, but just basically a dark color. Now your navy would be pretty on here, but a dark color to kind of stand out on our Seaside Spray ink. Okay, just like that. Now, this guy here has a die. So there is a little sand dollar die here that you'll take over to your die cut machine, line it up. There's actually a little inlet here, inset here on the sand dollar, helps you line it up perfectly. And you'll cut that out, and you will end up with that here, okay? And that becomes your sentiment for the front of the card, all right? Now, this piece here, I actually want to isolate all of these shells out because I want to use them separately, okay? I'm getting a little ahead of myself though, because this is a 3-step process and I've only done 2. I have cut out the die, then I've gone in and I've stamped, but now I want to use the embossing folder, the seashell embossing folder that coordinates with this. I can stick this die cut right in here, and because it's clear, obviously, I can see right through there. I can line up all those seashells around, line up some of that seaweed there that has a little texture, but it's going to make these shells look so realistic when you're done. So give me a second here. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And I don't know if the camera is going to show this, but it just gives it so much texture. Kinda, you can kind of see that. Not only do the stamps give you a little bit of that look, but you see with this texture on here, it gives them so much dimension. Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. And you want to make sure when you're making these that you do those in that exact same order. You want to die cut first, you want to stamp second, and then you want to do your embossing folder last, okay? If you did your embossing folder first, when you went to do your die cut through, you'd smash out all your texture, okay? And there's no way to stamp, position these just right until you cut out the die, okay? So that makes sense, right? Cut, stamp, and then do the texture, the embossing folder, all right? Okay, now I'm going to grab my scissors, and I want to go in here, and I want to isolate all these out. The die has done a lot of the work for you, so basically you're just going around and snipping away the little sections here that are holding that shell into this larger die. So you just go around and snip those off just like that. Now, I'm going very quick. Notice though that when I do, I'm moving my paper and not my scissors, okay? The other thing you do then, after you get most of that away, cut away, you can go in here and kind of smooth out some of your images, or some of your edges here, sorry, not images, okay? And I want you to do that with all of the shells, okay? I want you to go through here and I want you to continue to work and cut all of these away, okay? Now, I also want you to save, there's a larger seaweed and a grassy little section here at the top right-hand corner. I want you to save that. So when you cut that away, I want you to save it. And then down here in the right-hand corner, there's another little sprig down here, okay, that I want you to save. Once those are cut away, do exactly like we just did with the seashells, okay? Kind of go in here, you'll have kind of some little rough looking areas, but just go in here with your scissors, kind of round them out a little bit and make them look a little smoother. This is going to get placed vanilla cardstock on top of vanilla cardstock, so it's pretty forgiving, okay? So you'll have the top right hand and the bottom right hand pieces that you will save. And then, of course, finish cutting out all of your seashells, okay? And this is what you will end up with right here, okay? So here's our 2 seaweed grassy things that we need, and then also here are our seashells here, okay? I just don't want to take time to do that on camera. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and everybody knows how to cut, right? Okay, so let's pull our card base back in here. We're going to start placing these on our card. I'm going to grab the larger Nautilus shell first, and I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. I'm going to place a little bit down here in that little circular area of the shell, but then down here on the end, I'm actually going to place a dimensional. Sorry, my dimensionals were turned weird. Up here in this corner, if I flip it over, you can see better. Up here in this corner, I'm going to put a dimensional. But I put glue down here at the bottom. And I just think it helps these pop even more off the page. You have this nice little smooth area that it's laying, but then you have a little corner that pops up, which I think is kind of nice, especially if you're tucking part of that bottom shell underneath that ribbon. The next one I'm going to grab is this one. Again, towards that bottom part of that shell, I'm going to place just a little bit of my multi-purpose glue, and towards the top here I'm going to put a dimensional on there. And then this one's going to get laid. I'm using this other shell as my guide a little bit down here, and then this one's going to get laid straight up to the edge of the paper here. Okay. The next one we're going to do is the conch, and it's a little smaller, so I think I'm just going to put a dimensional on that one to attach it. Again, I'm going to take that little pointy end and just kind of use it as a guide down there to meet up with those other shells and bring it out over here to the edge. Okay, so it's over to the edge of the right side of your card. Okay, all these kind of combine right here in the middle. Okay, the next thing I want to add is my seaweed and my grassy. I'm going to flip this over, and again, just lightly, not very much, I'm just going to take my multi-purpose glue, add just a little bit on there. The larger one is going to go right up here at the top. Because those shells are on dimensionals, it makes it really easy to just sneak that back behind, tap it into place, and see how that cream on cream just looks gorgeous. The other one here, same thing, a little bit of monoadhesive glue, and that one's going to go down here in the right-hand corner. If you don't want to add this one quite yet and you want to wait till the very end, you're certainly welcome to do that. I've made several of these cards, though, so I kind of know exactly where it goes. It goes right down there into that right corner, okay? The next thing I suggest you adding is actually your sand dollar, okay? And because the sand dollar is going to be down towards the bottom mostly of the card, I'm going to put my dimensional down at the bottom of my sand dollar, okay? That way it's not too bulky up there at the top where the ribbon is, okay? And it's going to kind of get placed over here so that the edge is coming against that seaweed, but right at the base, the bottom of that blue seashell there, okay? Now my next two, I'm definitely going to use dimensionals on. I'm going to use a mini on the little small shell. And that one gets placed here with the idea that it's covering the ends of those other shells where they all come together, okay? And then I'll put a regular dimensional on this other scallop shell, and this one gets placed over here. I'm tucking the end underneath that sand dollar, and it gets placed there, okay? Isn't that cute? Oh, so cute. Now, you have a little shorter piece of ribbon in your kit, and it's intended basically just to tie yourself a little knot. Now, when you go to do this so that you have both, I'm using the gold side. You can use whichever side you like. I'm turning as I come through so that that gold side is up, because you have to do that. Otherwise, you'd have pink on one side and you'd have gold on the other. So I'm turning that so that I have gold side up on both, okay? I'm going to go ahead and trim off. Whoops. Got a little fast there, a little excited. Trim off the extras. And this would be great to use a glue dot to attach, okay? Remember that adhesives are not included in my Class to Go kits. However, Celebration is a fabulous time to stock up on those, okay? So any adhesives, dimensionals, all that kind of stuff. Pick up those good Stampin' Staples that you need all the time and earn yourself some free products. And this year's Celebration products are just fabulous, so... Okay, so that's the first card all done. Isn't that pretty? Actually, it's not done. I got ahead of myself. I'm going to add some of the opal rounds. They have kind of a little shimmer. They're mostly clear, but they have kind of a little iridescent look to them, and I don't think the camera is going to pick up those. I'm going to grab my Pick a tool and go ahead and place Oh, you know what? I didn't use the opal rounds on this one. I used, oh, these are my favorite embellishments in the main catalog. And I chose these because they have kind of this champagne color rhinestone in them. And I thought it looked lovely with the pink, the Blushing Bride here on this one. So they're the Elegant Faceted Gems. And seriously, these are probably my favorite embellishments in the catalog, okay? And I think they look lovely with these beachy cards because they have clear, they have some white kind of shimmery ones, and then I just love, like I said, this champagne one with the pink in this card, okay? So go ahead, and you're going to be given plenty of these. You're going to be given each, you're going to get one of each size, I think, of these in your kit. So I threw another one over here on this side. I just love this champagne or pink color on this one. Sometimes they're nice to line up with that seabed folder, kind of line them up exactly where those little branches come off, or center it down in the bottom there. But really pretty. I don't know if those are showing, but like I said, my photos with my post hopefully will show off a lot of those little details. Okay? All right, so now that one's all done. Okay, beautiful. All right, our next card is going to be this one here. And so when your supplies arrive, you will have supplies that look like this. Now, this is also the card that I will provide a pack of daubers. Okay, I've added those onto this class. I call them an add-on, but they are actually free. I did not add the $5 into the Class to Go card kit for them. And you will receive 5. There's only 4 that you're going to use, and you'll have an extra one to use for whatever color you need. But we are going to be using Seaside Spray, the Pear Pizzazz, the So Saffron, and Blushing Bride on this card. Again, these would all be additional add-on items. I could even put the daubers as an add-on item. Obviously, I said you'll get a pack, but it'll be nice. It'd be nice if you want more. You could obviously add them on for 10% off. Okay? All right, you're going to receive some linen thread. You're going to receive a little white scrap, a little yellow, another circle. This is a scrap. I shouldn't call this a little white piece of scrap. That's going to be your sentiment. And then your little circle scrap, and then you're going to have one piece of basic white cardstock that measures 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be your inside piece. And when I flip it over, I decided to put one of the little sand dollars down on the inside. Okay. Now I'm using terracotta tile as my card base for this. I know that seems kind of odd and different, but when I got done with this, I just loved that as the card base for these beautiful colors, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and attach my inside piece here first. Take my stamp and seal. There are so many fun little stamps in this set that you can use on the insides or on the envelopes of your cards as well, okay? That makes this fun too. Make them coordinate. All right, so in addition, you will have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 in good taste designer series paper, okay? This is the designer series paper that's in the main catalog that everyone talks about as the home improvement paper. It has a lot of different textures, tiles, very beautiful paper. And I came across this kind of splotchy looking blue that I thought looked really pretty. Here's the back side to show you, if that helps you figure out what pack of paper this comes from. So I just thought this looked beautiful as a background for this card, okay? So you'll have a piece of that. Then you'll also have a piece of basic white, and I opted to give you the thick. So it should seem a little bit heavier than your other piece of basic white. And this you're going to take and run through your large die, okay? Just like that. You're going to take and run that through your die cut machine. Once you do, you end up with that, okay? I also, on your little circle scrap here, you can stamp your starfish from this set on your little circle scrap. And I actually stamped it off. I did this in crumb cake, so you should pull out your crumb cake ink as well. I inked it and I stamped it off, and then I stamped it on here. It just made it a little more subtle to go with the subtle cards that we're using here, okay? And then obviously you have a little die that you should be able to cut that out with, okay? Your sentiment is the Friends sentiment that comes in this bundle. Friends are like seashells. You collect them along the way. I stamped that in Pear Pizzazz ink on your little scrap piece here, okay? And then that is going to get layered onto a piece of So Saffron cardstock, and you have just a small little, I think it's even less than 1/4 of an inch around parameter for that, okay? All right, now back to this piece. The next thing you need to do with this piece after we've cut it out is run it through the seashells die, okay? Just like we did with the last card. This time you don't have any stamped images though to line this up with. However, it's very easy. You just line this up. You can still see exactly where the seashells cutouts are to line up right over the top, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, bear with me, run this through the machine. Again, it's a 3D, so you need to use that special plate. And this is what you end up with, okay? Again, probably hard for the camera to see. But we're going to make these plain white seashells pop, okay? Go ahead, I'm going to open up all my inks. All right, and now I'm going to grab my daubers. I think I'm going to start with the Blushing Bride first. Go ahead, and some people will just, I get in the habit of just pouncing on my ink pads. I've seen some people actually rub. It really doesn't matter how you get the ink on the dauber. Some people go round and round a little bit with it. I just kind of pounce on top of it. It seems to be enough, okay? Now, I do want to come in here. I'm going to move my friends and move my little starfish out of the way. I'm going to put in my blotter underneath here just in case the ink goes through. Lightly, lightly. I can't emphasize that enough. Lightly. I'm going to take in a circular motion and I'm going to head over the top of this big nautilus shell. Okay? Just ever so lightly. All I'm trying to do is hit those bumps, okay, of that embossing folder. Really light. If you feel like you need a little more ink, go ahead, dab in there. If you want to practice a little bit first on your blotter, you certainly could come over here and practice. I really like the circular motion because I think that makes you go slow, first of all, and then you get that little bit lighter image of it. And I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Yeah, kind of there, it did. Oh my gosh, just that subtle little pink on there just makes all that embossing texture pop on there. Absolutely gorgeous. Now I'm going to grab another dauber for So Saffron, and I'm going to do the same thing on this guy. Again, I'm going to work in a circular motion just to come up and hit all those pop-outs, whatever you want to call them, that I got with the embossing folder. I need to go back to the pink because the pink also goes, I put it on this little tiny scallop shell up here too, okay? All right, I cannot emphasize enough how light you need to go, okay? Then we're going to grab our Seaside Spray dauber, and that one's going to come down here on this other little, I'm calling it a scallop shell as well. And then this, your conch on this one, I didn't even color. It's going to get covered up by our sentiment, so I didn't even color it, okay? But I do want to add some color to our beautiful seaweed. So I'm going to grab the other dauber and dip it in Pear Pizzazz. And now this one, to get more color on these leafy ones, I am going to come in here and pounce. okay? That really gets a lot more. Sometimes you can pounce and then you can twist, okay? And I can get those really dark. Those are probably showing up. I do the same thing with those same likeness down here. Don't get crazy and get it on your seashells. Still work kind of slow and deliberate as you go around some of these edges, okay? The other thing you can do is you can take another blotter or a scrap piece of paper, and you can use that as a little bit of a mask there where so that you don't get up onto those seashells, okay? There we go. See, we did pretty well there. Come over to this one. Keep working all the way around. You have pretty good control with these daubers, so. Now, the ones that are not this leafy, I'm going to be a little bit lighter with. You can see these other kind of seaweedy ones. I'm going to be just a little bit lighter touch on those, okay? I don't want those to be quite as dark. I like the contrast between them. So lightly and carefully, I'm just going to take my dauber and just blend it over the top of that paper. Okay, there's another one over here. This one doesn't matter so much, remember, because this one, the conch shell there is actually not going to show. Our greeting's going to cover that up, so I didn't care. Now, your paper will come super handy when you go to do these little guys, these little connecting pieces in between. Oh, and I should have used that. Probably didn't show up for you. So you almost could use 2 of these little blotter guys, one for each side here as I work to do like that one, okay? Same thing here. But it's just a light touch. It's not much at all to get some green on those, okay? Another one up here. Kind of work your way in there. Remember, this is supposed to be relaxing. So don't stress over it, to finish my thought there. Okay? All right, I think we've hit all those. I think my only blurb, and it probably didn't show for you guys, is I got a little bit of green on that one. I might go back in here with my yellow dauber and just kind of go over it a little bit more. It might be a little darker than the other ones, but that's okay. Ooh, still looks good. Okay, so that is all you're going to do to that piece, okay? Now, if you flip this over, you can place strategically, I guess I should say, place some dimensionals on here. And you can use a combination of large ones, little ones, to attach this. It doesn't take much. Remember, it's paper. Doesn't take much. Doesn't weigh much. I kind of put one on the backs of each of the seashells. And then I put a little mini on that little scalloped one there. Okay. And then we're going to bring in our piece of DSP from the In Good Taste DSP group. And that is going to get laid right on top. You do kind of have to turn it a little bit. This happens to be a large die, so that a little bit of those sometimes hang out over your card, and I'll show you a trick for that in just a minute. So there you go. Isn't that pretty? I just don't think the camera's picking up on those colors, but obviously when you go to do yours, you'll be able to see them beautifully. Okay, the next thing I want to attach is my sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 dimensionals on it. And that, as I've already said, is going to get placed over that conch shell. I just thought this was the best placement for it. I hated to cover up a shell, but it looks fine. And then we're going to take our linen thread, and I've given you quite a long piece here, enough to wrap it around twice. So 1, 2. And you're going to end up over here onto this right side underneath your sentiment. And I'm going to tie a bow. Now, the easiest way sometimes to get linen thread to behave is to tie a knot first. I just tied a knot. And then go ahead and tie your bows and loops. Sometimes it's hard to hold linen thread because it's so fine. There's a little trick. Okay? Kind of pull your tails how you want them. If you don't have the bow exactly where you want it, you do have a little freedom in that you can slide it up a little. And you can slide those two apart a little bit there too as well to separate them so you see both of them. If your bow is not laying exactly the way you would like it, take a glue dot and your pick a tool paper piercing end. Get yourself a glue dot off there. And I kind of fold them in half a little bit before I attach them under something that's tiny like this. And then go ahead and stick it right underneath the knot of your bow. Okay? Press a little bit and then your bow will lay right where you want it. If your tails are too long, feel free to cut them. Okay, just like that. And now we got to add our little starfish. I don't want to forget him. And all I did was to attach him was take some mini dimensionals. I placed one on one of the little legs, and then I placed one down on the other. I just used two, and I used two on purpose because one of the dimensionals is actually going to come up here on the corner of your sentiment, and then the other one will bring it down. You're straddling that ribbon underneath, or that linen thread. The other one will come down and then hold it down. And it kind of gives it a little bit of an angle. It's not showing on camera, but it's really cute. Okay, on the back side of this, we're going to place more dimensionals because we want this to pop up and show all of its gorgeousness. I apologize, I really don't think my camera is doing this card justice. Like I said, the photos with this post, you'll be able to see an up close of this card and hopefully appreciate the subtle beachy colors of this. Okay. Now, as I talked about, this die is large, and sometimes you have some of this grassy or seaweed stuff hanging over the edge. If that bothers you, it's very forgiving. You can actually come in here and you can just clip those off like that, okay? And that way there'll be no problem with it catching on anything, and it will sit inside your card, go in and out of your card beautifully, okay? It's actually pretty forgiving, even these little areas over here. If I cut those straight, I mean, your eye stops at the card, so pretty forgiving. If these are a little loose for you and hanging out here a little too much, you could sneak a glue dot underneath there, or you could put some multi-purpose glue, sneak it underneath there to help hold those on a little bit more. I kind of like the way they just kind of hang out there. It makes it even more realistic, okay? Okay, so there's that one. Let's get on to our third and fourth card, okay? So our third and fourth card kind of work together. So I was kind of excited when I was able to do 4 card designs for this class because these two kind of coordinate. And you might have already noticed that when you saw them. This one and this one here, okay? Using pretty much the same color palette, but are still just a little bit different, okay? I want to show you how I got these two different looks here, all right? All right, so we are going to start with the Coastal Cabana base, okay? It also has a little Coastal Cabana strip that measures 1/4 of an inch by 5.5. You have a little black sentiment strip, and then you also have a piece of 4 by 5.25 basic white that will be your inside. I did take and stamped some of the little scallop shells along the edge, okay? So go ahead, I'm going to put some Stamp and Seal on this one and then attach this on the inside of my card. Okay, and this card's actually going to lay like this, all right? Now, you will have another piece of Whisper White, which I didn't include in this right now. Let me grab this. Sorry. You'll have another piece of Whisper White that measures 4 by 5 1/4. Sorry. Okay, another piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. So you have 2 in this kit, all right? Now, I'm sorry, I apologize about that. Then you're going to grab your Coastal Cabana ink pad, and you're going to grab your seabed embossing folder, okay? Now, this is a technique I have done in the past. I haven't used it for a while, but I am telling you, it is gorgeous with this folder. I'm going to bring in my blotter again here, bring in my embossing folder, and when you look at embossing folders from Stampin' Up, they always have a logo on the front, right? I want to hit, I'm going to take my ink pad down on this, and it's going to give me a beautiful texture, okay? And I'm going to take and ink up my back side of the folder. I just wanted to make sure I was telling you the right thing. I'm sorry for the hesitation. I didn't want to do it wrong. Anyway, Coastal Cabana ink pad right down onto that folder and ink it up really well on the back side of your embossing folder. I think I did it backwards. I did. Even after thinking about it. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Just think, if you guys were all here for stamp class, you'd be laughing at me right now. Okay, the front side. Okay, you want to ink up the front side of your folder. I should have marked it before my video, and I wouldn't have had to think about it. Live and learn, right? I'm learning in this virtual world. All right, so I'm inking this up really nicely. It wouldn't have been wrong to do it the other way. It just would have been a little bit different of a look. And maybe I should have gone with it and done it, and then you could have seen the difference. But seriously, it would not have been wrong, okay? All right, so I'm going to take my piece of basic white cardstock, lay that down gently, don't move it. I'm going to close the folder on it, and I'm going to go over to my die cut machine, and I'm going to run this through, okay? So bear with me. I'm going to run it through once, and then I'm going to run it through, back through, I guess I should say, again, okay? And kind of go slow, because what you're doing is you're allowing that ink to really soak into that paper, okay? All right, and this is what you'll end up with. I'm going to open this carefully and gently because I have ink now kind of on both sides, but this is what you're going to end up with. Isn't that gorgeous? Again, I don't know if the camera is doing it justice. It's absolutely gorgeous. Peel that off carefully. From your last card kit, the one with the Coastal Cabana base, I'm sorry, Bermuda Bay base, you'll want to grab your other piece of 4 by 5 1/4, okay? And now this one is going to get laid No, it won't be 4 by 5 1/4. It'll be smaller. I'm so sorry. Okay, I don't want to stop my video now because I'm already through. So it's actually the one that will coordinate with the Coastal Cabana on the last card of your pack. Okay, so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, and I did that on purpose because I want you to lay this back down. You'll be able to see the line of where your 4 by 5 1/4 piece laid, and I want you to lay this inside that. Okay, make sure it's inside. If it's not, you'll end up with a line, okay, in your design. All right, and we're going to run it back through again. Okay, you do not have to re-ink. Oh my gosh, you guys. Stewie is just looking at me like, you have messed up card 3 and 4. Again, run it through kind of slow. Give that paper a chance to pick it up. And you'll see my example because it wasn't quite lined up. I did get a little bit of a line from where that color changed, okay? And it's easy to fix. I'll just take my paper trimmer and I'll just go right through there and we'll just trim that off, okay? But that piece we're going to set aside right now and use that to make our 4th card. But it's a great way to get a dark, sharp color contrast and then one that gives you just a little bit paler one, okay? And I don't know if that's picking it up, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so we have that piece done. The next thing we want is, we can actually go ahead and we can put this on our card. This time I'm not using dimensionals. You could. I'm just going to use some multi-purpose glue here on the back side of this and attach this to my Coastal Cabana card base. Giving it a nice little press there to make sure all that texture is sticking. And then you'll have your little piece here. A strip that I just placed across the bottom here. You do want to make sure it's straight. So I'm coming over the top here to make sure. Looks like a little bit is hanging over here, so I'm going to trim that extra off right there. Now, you will also have a large piece of Whisper White that measures 6 by 4 1/4, and you're going to take, and it's going to be white, you're going to take this die again, you're going to run it through your embossing, or through your die, sorry, through your die cut machine, okay? And then, just like we did on that last card, run it next through your seashell embossing folder, okay, to give it texture. So I'm going to do that here real quick. Just like that. The embossing folder that you inked up, you probably heard me. I just went next door in the bathroom. You run it over under the faucet, and all that ink rinses off, and then you just towel dry it. Okay, so it does no harm to your embossing folder. Okay, so I will just take this, run it under the faucet, clean it off, and then it'll be ready to use again. Okay, make sure it dries really well. All right, so now we have this piece here, okay? And we're going to do like we did earlier, where we cut out our shells, okay? And this one, I didn't have them pre-cut. For some reason, I think I gave up on card 3 and 4. I'm not as prepared for them as I was the other ones. Anyway, super easy and quick, though, to run in here with your scissors. Notice again how I'm moving the paper, not my scissors. And we might as well go ahead and keep working because, again, we're going to use one of these cutouts on the last 2 cards, okay? And because of the texture that you're putting these on, it's pretty forgiving. Like I said, you don't have to be precise with all your little cuts along the edges here, okay? I can't tell you how much, oh, I just love this little bundle. Oh, I miss stamping with you guys. You know, we'll start talking while I'm doing this, but that just reminded me, like, remember in classes when I used to, like, there were things I'd flub up and it was just almost like a comedy show, I felt like. And I miss all of you and doing that, flipping up and laughing. Finish trimming these out here. There you go. Okay, just like that other card we made, remember? I had you save the top right-hand corner of this grassy seaweed from your cutout. You're going to do the same thing for this card, okay? You're going to save, there's that right top part of that embossing folder, and then here's that bottom right hand part. Can't talk now. Got myself all rattled. Go ahead and trim up all those little extra edges off there and save that as well, okay? So basically we have all the seashells, again, like this, okay? All right, let me get all my scraps out of the way. Okay, now we can start building our cards, okay? So we're going to take that large Nautilus shell and set it aside, okay? That's going to get used on our 4th card. We're going to use all of these, the other 4, and I'm just trimming them up just a little bit on each edge. And again, I'm going to place them similar to how I placed them on the others. I'm going to put a little bit of multi-purpose glue there. Take a dimensional on the top part of that there. And this one's just going to kind of get laid across here, just like that. And then I'm going to take that conch, and I'm just going to put it up on a dimensional. And it gets placed kind of over here to the right. These tips can kind of match here just a little bit. We'll take the larger of the scallop shells next, dimensional on it, and it can get placed kind of between these two here. We're going to put our sentiment over the top of where all these connect, so kind of keep that in mind when you're placing those down. And then we'll take this little mini scallop, and it gets placed over here kind of underneath that one. Okay, hanging out there. I think that looks cute. Now, we're also going to share our grassy seaweed stuff here too between this card and the 4th card. So you can decide. It really doesn't matter which is which. They both look really pretty. So I think I'll take the little bit larger one on this one just because the conch shell's a little bigger and you could use a little smaller maybe grassy on it. But then this gets placed back behind because you don't want to waste any of this. I don't want to throw this away. This is gorgeous. Okay, just like that. Now, we'll save that for our last card. Then you have your little black sentiment strip. And I did do white embossing on it. And I just used the thank you from this stamp set, okay? Now, to remind you, for those of you who need, I've had some people say, how do you emboss when they see my classes? So you're going to take your embossing buddy over the top, the Versamark ink pad, ink it up, and then go ahead and place that down onto your cardstock like that. These strips are pretty long so that you have plenty to hold on to so that you can grab it to throw your embossing powder on top of it. Okay, just like that. And then it's always handy to have like a little paintbrush or something that you can come in here, especially on the black because it really shows the white on black here. But to get a lot of that extra off, okay? And then you just take your heat tool over the top of it, melt that powder, and you end up with this, okay? I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. Now, like I said, the strips I've given you are plenty long, so you have extra to grab onto. So you can trim off that extra. And I'm going to go ahead and place 2 little dimensionals here. And then this is one of the cards. I'm going to pull out those pearl ovals and throw those on. These last 2 cards are so pretty. I love that black with white embossed on there. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to grab my little opal rounds here and my pick a tool and grab a few of these here. There's 2 different sizes. There's a little bit larger one, and then there's a little kind of a medium size one. And you'll have plenty in your class to go. You should be able to put 5 on each of the last 2 cards, kind of wherever you want them, okay? Pretty. Like I said, I don't know if the camera does these justice, but they'll be in my photos with the post, okay? All right, so that is that card there, the 3rd card. Now, our last card is the one that has the Coastal Cabana. I'm sorry, I keep mixing these up. Bermuda Bay cardstock. It's darker, okay? Bermuda Bay is darker than Coastal Cabana, okay? So Bermuda Bay base, it's scored in the middle at 4 inches, and then there's another score line here at 2 1/8, okay? So you'll go ahead and fold it. It'll already be folded for you this way. Then you will fold it back on itself this way. Take your bone folder, give yourself a nice little crease, just like that, okay? And it's going to be kind of a Z-fold card, all right? You're going to have another piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white in there, and I did go ahead and I stamped that gorgeous conch shell down in the corner on that one. Go ahead and put a little bit of stamp and seal on that, and then that's going to get placed on the inside of your card base. Okay. And then you have a piece of Coastal Cabana, and then that other Whisper White piece that we put through the embossing folder with that second inking, okay? Now, like I told you, I ended up with just being off a little bit, but I kind of like that because it proved my point a little bit, why it's so important to get that smaller piece inside the limits of that first piece that you ran through it, okay? So bear with me one more time. I'm going to go to my paper cutter, and I'm just going to trim that little edge off. So if that happens to you, you can do that, okay? Now you know that sometimes when you go to cut things that you've already run through an embossing folder, go real gentle because sometimes it can tear your edge. It cut it, but it didn't cut it all the way through. And I'm not going to run it back through because I don't want to risk it tattering that edge. So I can just go with my scissors and trim off that extra, okay? And this will not interfere with the sizing of this at all. You might have a little bit of extra Coastal Cabana sticking out on one side, or space it out and have it even on both sides, okay? Or go ahead and trim up your paper and make it match a little bit more if you'd like to, okay? Okay, so next we're going to take our multi-purpose glue and go ahead and attach that down. I think I do want to indulge you all again and go to my paper cutter. I'm going to trim that off there. That does not mean I'm a perfectionist. Type A, I'm not, far from it. I just want it to look nice. Okay, there we go. That was easy. Then I'm going to attach this to my card base here, okay? And I want to center it top to bottom and on this side. I only want dimensionals on this side though, okay? Because this is going to open this way and I don't want it to, stick where the card opens, okay? I'm actually trying to decide whether I should place it over. I think I'm going to place it over here to the edge, okay? So I'm just going to put dimensionals on this side. I am going to use 3 of them. And I'm thinking my sample card, my inside piece was the same size as this. And so yours will be. I will make yours like that, okay? I'm going to do this for this one right now, but let me pull my sample back in here. You can see how this inside piece doesn't show when it's closed, okay? So when you go to place your inside piece, you'll want to place it so that those match up with your top piece, okay? All right. I got excited because I usually put my inside piece in first, and so that's what I did, but now I see my other piece sitting over here. Anyway, I don't know what's happened at the end of this video. It's falling apart. It's falling apart. Sorry. All right, go ahead and we're going to put a couple dimensionals on there. I hope you're all laughing with me. If you are, comment and get back to me. I think it's funny, and hopefully you do too. We're going to go ahead and take our big Nautilus seashell right here and place it over to the left-hand side of that front piece. And then you'll have a black sentiment piece in your kit that you will white emboss the happy birthday greeting, okay? Again, it'll be a little bit long for you so that you'll be able to hold on to it to put your embossing powder over it. So you will need to snip off the edges here. Go ahead and place some dimensionals on it as well. And then that just gets kind of placed right up here towards the top, not upside down. Wow, what a day today of filming. just like that. And then remember you have your other little piece of grassy seaweedy stuff. Go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on it, and it can kind of get stuck wherever you want it, over the top here or at the bottom. I actually love this card without any of that too. It kind of takes away maybe. My sample card I did not do that with, so you decide a little bit what you like there too, okay? So I did go ahead and add some more of the pearlescent little opal rounds on there as well, 3 of them, okay, that you'll be able to add onto your card, okay? Again, if you have any questions about these, my demonstration of that card, I think you finally, or hopefully got it, but I was a little airheady, spacey there. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right, so those are the 4 cards. Let me pull them out again so you can get a good look at them. Remember, these were the 2 that we did together, basically. One plays off the other, and then you have this gorgeous pastel one, and you have this gorgeous pastel one, okay? I tried to use all the dies, all the stamps. I don't think I used them all in these cards, but you get a good taste of exactly what this bundle can do. Absolutely gorgeous. So in closing, I guess I hope you've enjoyed these cards and you decide to pick up this special Class to Go kit. So I really do think you will like it. Not only is it a great escape in these Iowa winters, right? But these stamp images, coordinating dies, and these gorgeous detailed embossing folders will blow you away. Seriously. It's a great addition to anyone's stamp stash. So thank you for being patient with me. Until next time, be well and take care.